Ukraine finally fires German RCH-155 battlefield shock. January 12th, 2026. The news is officially broken. One of the most anticipated, most complex pieces of Western military hardware is finally in the fight.
This is a monumental moment, not just for the war in Ukraine, but really for the future of mechanized artillery everywhere.
I'm Alex. Join me with Arya in the latest Deep Dive by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments.
And if you're here, subscribe to Defense Reports. It's your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports.
And today we're going to cover the huge news. The RCH-155 remote-controlled howitzer, built by the German firm KNDS, is finally operational on the front lines.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We need to analyze what makes this system so revolutionary.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to talk about its defining feature, the fire-on-the-move capability.
Right, but we're going beyond just the hardware.
Exactly. We're going to dig into what this shockingly slow deployment timeline really reveals about the true grinding complexity of modern warfare.
And finally, we'll connect the dots. We're taking the automation at the core of this weapon, that tiny two-person crew, the remote turret, and linking it to the much bigger, almost existential risks of AI-powered autonomous weapon systems, AWS.
That's a deep one. And the timeline itself gives us our first massive cliffhanger. Just think about this paradox for a second.
This is where it gets really revealing.
Wow.
So allies like the UK and Germany, major powers, they only just formalized a deal in late December 2025. And that deal was just to test and acquire 3 demonstrator systems. 3 for their own armies.
Meanwhile, Ukraine, the country fighting for its life, got its first RCH-155 unit almost a full year earlier, back on January 13, 2025.
So why the delay? Why does a nation that desperately needs this hardware wait an entire year to get it to the front lines?
Well, we're told it all comes down to one thing, the complexity of the crew training.
And if it takes Ukraine a year to master a system they need yesterday, you can start to imagine the scale of the technological leap we are talking about.
Let's unpack the tech first, then get back to that training bottleneck.
Okay, let's do it.
So the RCH-155 is basically the ultimate technical answer to the biggest problem on the modern battlefield.
Which is that mobility equals survival.
Exactly that. And the problem it's solving is Russia's incredibly dense and very agile counter-battery ecosystem.
Which has evolved at a terrifying speed since 2022.
Terrifying is the word. It's a layered threat. First, you've got drones, like the Orlan 10 and Orlan 30, constantly circling, looking for the muzzle flash, the smoke, any sign of an artillery piece firing.
And once that drone spots you, the clock starts ticking instantly.
Precisely. The drone relays that visual back to counter-battery radars, which lock onto your exact coordinates, and then the incoming fire arrives.
Usually a Lancet loitering munition or maybe a Krasnopol laser-guided shell.
Right, so the whole sequence, from the moment you fire to the moment a shell lands on your head, that kill chain, has shrunk from maybe 10 minutes early in the war to often less than 60 seconds.
So the old way of doing things, the shoot, pack up and move tactic,
Yeah.
it's just a death sentence now.
It is. The vulnerability window is just too large. If you stop, you die. The RCH-155 was designed from the ground up to eliminate that window.
0 setup time, that's the key.
No stabilizer legs to put down, no spade to dig in, none of that. It just doesn't need it.
Okay, so let's talk about this shoot and scoot 2.0 capability, firing while on the move.
Well, this system combines 2 proven pieces of tech. You have the super rugged high mobility GTK Boxer 8x8 chassis.
Right.
And you pair it with the artillery gun module, or AGM. And that's basically an advanced, fully automated version of the cannon from the PZH-2000.
Which is already the gold standard.
The absolute gold standard. So the RCH-155 could be driving, receive a fire mission, fire a full salvo, and be moving to its next position before the first shell even lands.
We're talking about firing while driving at speeds up to 100 kilometers an hour. That's insane.
It is the definition of survivability. And the firepower is immense. It can hit targets up to 70 kilometers away with advanced rounds like the Volcano.
But the real magic is the automation, isn't it?
It is. The AGM, the turret itself, is completely unmanned. It's all remote controlled from inside the protected cab.
And how does that speed things up in a fight?
It's a gigantic difference. Because the turret is remote, it can handle all that recoil with internal systems. No need for external legs.
Which means it can turn a full 360 degrees and fire at any angle without stopping.
Any angle, any direction. And it can pump out up to 9 rounds a minute.
And the crew is tiny.
Just 2 people, a driver-operator and a commander. Compare that to 5, 6, even 7 for older systems.
In theory, that sounds simpler. But this is where the theory hits a brick wall.
This is where we come back to that paradox. Ukraine has 54 of these on order, a huge, nearly 900 million euro contract. But it's taken a full year to get the first ones into the fight.
So what's the real hurdle?
It's the platform itself, the sheer complexity of mastering the vehicle, the GTK Boxer chassis.
It's a 36-ton beast. Why is driving it so much harder than, say, a tracked vehicle like the RCH-155?
It's all about managing that speed and kinetic force. A wheeled vehicle like the Boxer is fast, but controlling 36 tons at high speed and then having a massive 155mm gunfire off-center, that is a very, very delicate dance.
So the training isn't just about learning to drive. It's about learning to fight while driving.
Exactly. We're hearing about incredibly intense training, slalom driving, handling extreme slopes, reversing this massive thing with limited visibility, all under simulated combat stress.
Because if it takes you 10 seconds too long to get moving after a shot...
The system's main advantage is gone. You're just a 36-ton target.
Wow. We know that training for the RCH-155 takes about 7 weeks.
Right.
But for this, crews are spending several months just on mastering the vehicle before they even get to the advanced gunnery. It's a whole new paradigm.
And this painful, slow training pace in Ukraine is such a stark contrast with what's happening back in NATO.
The NATO versus Kyiv clock. The UK and Germany are just now, a year later, getting a deal together for 3 test vehicles.
It really highlights this strategic gap. NATO procurement is still running on a, peacetime clock, long testing cycles, bureaucracy.
While the battlefield is demanding action at the speed of relevance.
Exactly.
But this Trinity House framework between the UK and Germany, it is a big deal, right? It's more than just them catching up.
Oh, it's essential. It's a bilateral framework designed to fast-track exactly this kind of procurement. They can share test data, pool resources, standardize everything.
It cuts down on cost and time.
Massively. It's the exact lesson they needed to learn from the slow response to Ukraine. It's a move toward deep industrial cooperation.
And for the UK, the RCH-155 is vital.
It is. They need a long-term replacement for their entire AS-90 fleet, which they donated to Ukraine. The Archer system is great, but it's an interim solution. This is the future.
And using the Boxer chassis is a huge logistical win for them, isn't it?
It's a massive efficiency multiplier. The British Army already has over 600 Boxers on order for their infantry.
So your mechanics, your spare parts, your supply chain, it's all standardized.
Exactly. It dramatically improves readiness and resilience.
Let's talk about the industrial side of this. This feels like it's actively rebuilding European defense capabilities that had really wasted away after the Cold War.
It's a genuine turning point. And here's a fascinating detail from the source material.
Okay.
Under this framework, the UK will manufacture the 155mm howitzer barrels for all the RCH-155 systems.
For everyone. For the British, the Germans, and the Ukrainians.
For everyone. They are regenerating a manufacturing capability that was lost years ago. It's a huge story of industrial resilience, all driven by the war in Ukraine.
And Germany's planning a huge scale-up.
Massive. Potentially up to 500 systems under this framework. So what's happening in Ukraine isn't just about one weapon. It's driving a standardized technological revolution across Europe.
And this brings us to our final section, because this revolution is defined by automation. The remote turret, the minimal crew, it forces a conversation about autonomous weapon systems, or AWS.
That's the critical pivot. The academic literature is very clear on this. High automation, even if the system isn't, a killer robot, creates serious geopolitical instability.
How so?
The core threat is simple. Automation dramatically reduces the upfront human cost of going to war.
So it lowers the political cost if you don't have to worry about your own soldiers coming home in coffins.
The barrier to starting a conflict, especially against a smaller adversary, drops significantly. It encourages aggression because the domestic political blowback is so much smaller.
And the really scary part is that proliferation of this tech is seen as, well, inevitable.
Completely inevitable. Because the breakthroughs aren't coming from secret military labs. They're coming from civilian AI research.
Machine learning, computer vision, robotic.
All of it is dual use. Once you teach a self-driving car how to navigate a city, you've done 80% of the work to teach a drone how to navigate a battlefield.
So all these efforts, like the U.S. export controls on high-end computer chips, that's not going to stop this.
It's completely futile. Those controls are aimed at stopping countries from building giant supercomputers. They target chips rated at, say, 4,800 TOPS or more.
Okay.
But the actual weapons on the battlefield, They don't need that kind of power. They use small, low-power edge compute chips,
Yeah.
like the NVIDIA Jetson Orin NX that runs at about 100 TOPS.
So a chip that is 48 times less powerful than the export control threshold is all you need to power the next generation of autonomous weapons.
Exactly. The value isn't in the giant training model, it's in the efficient little chip running the final algorithm on the weapon itself. Proliferation is fast, cheap, and almost impossible to control with hardware blocks.
And this creates an AI-powered arms race, which could have huge consequences for science and academic freedom.
It really could. We could see national security restrictions placed on civilian AI research, censorship, reduced international collaboration, visa restrictions on scientists.
It's like what happened with the rocket scientist Kian Susan during the Cold War.
A perfect and chilling historical parallel. He was key to the U.S. space program. They deported him, and he became the father of China's missile program.
So what's the takeaway for institutions today?
They have to get ahead of this. Universities, tech companies, they need to establish clear, robust, ethical oversight for any military-funded AI research. They have to defend academic independence before it's too late.
So to pull this all together, the RCH-155 is the ultimate battlefield lesson from Ukraine, made real. It's driving rapid, standardized tech adoption across Europe. But its main advantage, mobility, comes with this immense training costs, which shows us why fielding these systems is so much harder than just building them.
And that leaves us with a final, provocative thought for all the defense planners in Europe watching this. The Trinity House framework for testing is a great first step. But how quickly will the real-time threats from the front line force them to move beyond just testing and into immediate, large-scale production?
Will they finally start buying weapons at the speed of relevance? That's the real question.
It is.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Arya, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
Oh, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.